Criminals are now stealing cars without breaking windows, hot wiring, or even making noise. They're doing it by making you believe you've locked your car when you haven't. It takes seconds, works anywhere, and victims usually don't notice until their belongings or the entire car are gone. In this video, you're going to see exactly how this tactic works in crowded parking lots, why police say it's spreading, and the one quick action you can take every single time to shut it down. Before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Imagine walking away from your car, pressing your fob, hearing the familiar click, and feeling certain the doors are sealed. You picture yourself coming back hours later to find everything inside untouched. The truth is, in that very moment, your vehicle could still be wide open and you wouldn't even realize it. That single click you trust so much is exactly what thieves are exploiting, with a trick most drivers have never even heard of before. The method is called keyless jamming, and it's both simple and devastatingly effective. Instead of physically breaking into the car, criminals use a small device that interferes with the radio signal between your fob and your car. When you press lock, nothing actually reaches your vehicle. You think your doors have secured, but they haven't at all. The trick works because everything feels routine. You're used to hearing a confirmation click, maybe even seeing your lights flash, and you walk away assuming you're safe. That assumption is the weak link. Most cars only respond if they receive the signal, but a jammer blocks it before it even gets there. Your fob still clicks in your hand, so you're reassured, but the car never received the lock command. This creates the perfect illusion of security while leaving the vehicle wide open for anyone who wants to try the handle. For thieves, that's the opportunity they're waiting for. Picture this. A driver pulls into a shopping plaza, steps out, presses the lock button, and hurries inside for a quick store run. Cameras later reveal that two men walk up just minutes afterward, casually check the door, and swing it open without struggle. They don't force entry, they don't set off alarms, and within moments, they're inside, taking electronics, bags, and even spare keys left behind. By the time the owner comes back, the vehicle looks untouched, yet everything valuable inside is gone. What makes it worse is just how cheap and accessible the tools are. Small handheld jammers can be bought online and fit easily in a pocket. They don't require advanced skills to operate, and in a busy parking lot, a thief can stand dozens of feet away, blending in with people walking to and from their vehicles. No suspicious movements, no smashed glass, just a calm thief intercepting signals while everyone else is distracted. For the driver, the confusion that comes after is crushing. Since there are no broken locks or shattered windows, the scene doesn't look like a typical break-in. Reports filed with insurance companies or even law enforcement often carry a subtle suspicion of carelessness, almost as if the driver simply forgot to lock up. The lack of physical damage makes the entire crime look less like theft and more like negligence, which can complicate claims and leave victims footing the bill. What truly helps thieves is how silent the entire process is. Your alarm doesn't blare, your lights don't flash, and your car never indicates distress. Everything looks perfectly normal, right up to the moment you realize something's missing. It's precisely this quiet efficiency that makes jamming so attractive to criminal networks. Unlike smashing a window, this doesn't draw attention. The thief calmly blends back into the crowd, unnoticed by both bystanders and cameras. What makes all of this so unnerving is that there's no visible sign while it happens. You can't hear interference, you can't feel it, and you can't detect it with your senses. From your perspective, you pressed lock like always. Routine, quick, unconscious. That invisibility is what allows entire crimes to go undetected in the moment. The single clue that can expose a jam has nothing to do with electronics at all. It's the resistance of your door handle. Physically pulling on the handle after pressing your fob forces you to verify the lock working. If it opens, you've just caught the jammer. If it doesn't, you've confirmed it's secured. and that tiny action is the only practical way for the average driver to know. But if interference really leaves your doors unlocked, why don't you notice the moment you press the fob? Here's the disturbing part. Your car doesn't warn you at all when the lock signal is jammed. You might expect an error light, a chime, or even some kind of alert that tells you something went wrong, but that's not how most vehicles are designed. The way the system works is actually far simpler, and that simplicity leaves a dangerous gap. When you press the lock button on your key fob, the car is set up to assume everything went through successfully. Unless the vehicle specifically receives a signal back, it has no idea whether the lock command was completed or if it vanished in midair. This design choice creates an obvious blind spot. If the signal never reaches the car at all, nothing inside the system tells it that something failed. In other words, there is no built-in safety net for interference. With no warning, the driver treats the process as routine, and that routine is exactly what criminals count on. You hear the small click inside the fob when you press it, so your brain registers it as done. Meanwhile, the actual locking never happened. A lot of people aren't even aware of this design limitation. Most drivers assume that the beep, the flash of the lights, or the clunk of the locks is guaranteed to happen every single time. They rely on those confirmations without realizing those signals only occur once the lock command actually reaches the car. If a thief is running a jammer, none of those confirmations activate. Since you're often distracted, maybe carrying bags, juggling your phone, or rushing into a building, you may not even notice that the usual cues are missing. This oversight causes real-world problems in ways most people wouldn't expect. Think about an airport parking lot. A driver pulls in, grabs their suitcase, and presses the lock button while walking toward the shuttle pickup. They don't consciously notice the lack of a confirmation beep because they're in a rush to catch a flight. Days later, when they return, the space is empty. To the victim, it feels impossible. They're absolutely sure they locked their car. But when investigators look at the electronic logs in the car, they see no record of any lock signal being registered that day. Police reports are filled with cases just like this. Victims insist they pressed the fob, and they did. But the system doesn't lie. With jamming in play, the pressing of the button means nothing if the signal never landed. This mismatch between what the driver believes and what the data shows can be incredibly frustrating. It also complicates insurance claims, because an unlocked vehicle often shifts some responsibility back to the owner, even if they followed what they thought was the right process. At the heart of the issue is the difference between one-way and two-way key fob systems. A one-way system, which is what most standard cars use, only sends information in a single direction, from the fob to the car. It has no ability to confirm that the message was received. A two-way system, found more commonly in high-end models, adds a return signal. That means the car sends a message back saying, "Yes, I locked," which then produces an acknowledgement on your fob. Without that loop, there's no way for the car to know if anything interfered. Car theft today isn't about hot wiring or brute force. It's about exploiting trust. Criminals rely on the fact that most drivers never double-check their locks. Technology makes life easier, but it also creates blind spots that thieves know how to use against you. That's why the strongest defense isn't high-tech at all. It's simple awareness. Always look for the flash, listen for the beep, and then pull the handle yourself. That's the final confirmation nothing else can fake. What seems unnecessary in the moment could be the exact step that keeps your car from disappearing while you're not looking.